I got some information about Kail and why she wasn't on tonight's episode. I got true sources, true facts from the people that work in production, that are part of the team, MTV. I know the real story. I know what happened. And Kail wasn't on tonight's episode because she no longer wants to film about her true life. She doesn't want to film about the issues that goes on with her and Chris, or her and Javi, or her and Joe. She's trying to sweep up the bad girl act. And so I made one comment. Someone asked me on Instagram, why wasn't Kail on tonight's episode? And all I said was, we had so much footage that we filmed. Me and Jade, not just me. We had so much footage that we filmed that took over Kail's storyline because there was nothing for Kail to film during that time.
Hey guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. Kailyn Lowry has filed a defamation lawsuit against Briana DeJesus in Florida. I'm not lying. This is real. This is not a joke. This is serious. And it all comes down to some clickbait that Briana posted on her Instagram, a live stream Briana did about a episode that Kailyn was not involved in for Teen Mom 2, and statements that she made in this live stream regarding Kailyn. And Kailyn is stating that these claims that she made have damaged her reputation, are causing her emotional distress, and she is seeking damages because she says they were spread false and maliciously.
What is there to be salty about?
You're salty.
About what?
You're salty. The hobby
About
is moving
what?
on.
I haven't talked a lot about the teen moms lately, and I don't unless something really big comes up. And this one I was a little bit shaking my head at, because if you know anything about Kailyn Lowry, she's messy. She has no problem getting into it with her castmates. She and Briana have a very long history of going back and forth. They had a very infamous fight at a Teen Mom 2 reunion.
Explain.
I have no
Explain
issue.
yourself, because I'm asking you.
Yesterday when you walked in, you was really loud mouth. Obviously, you're the one with the issue.
First of all,
Don't get disrespectful with my mom.
first of all,
Briana dated her ex-husband, which again is super messy. And Briana has a lot to say consistently about Kailyn online. And I think a lot of their bad blood comes down to that she dated Javi. And, you know, she just can't let this drama go. And Kailyn hasn't really been responding to Briana a whole lot. And so recently there was a story that came out that Kailyn was excluded from an episode on Teen Mom. Now, Kailyn says that she and the producers had a disagreement about what they wanted to cover for the episode, and Kailyn felt that the episode that they wanted to do, which she said involved the fathers, she did not want to put on the show. She said that there was other things that she wanted to focus on with her businesses that were not related to them. So instead of filming, she sat the episode out.
I'm not in tonight's episode, and it's really not that big of a deal. So I chose not to participate in tonight's episode because I didn't feel like the content that was being asked for was genuine or authentic to who I am. And furthermore, I don't feel like I should be making a storyline out of Chris or Javi or Joe if I don't feel like that is truly as much a part of my life as it would be made to seem on this show.
But she made this claim after Briana had gone on an Instagram live and basically said that production had told her that the reason why she was not on the episode was because Kailyn refused to film about the arrest that she had, but with an incident that happened between her and Chris Lopez. So Kailyn denied that it had anything to do with that. In the live stream, Briana basically accused her of breaking in and entering into Chris Lopez's mom's house and then attacking Chris.
Kail did not want to film about the situation with this, about her getting arrested, about her breaking and entering into into Chris's mom's house. She didn't want to film about her hitting Chris because Chris cut her son's hair. She didn't want to film about any of that.
So Kailyn, 1, was arrested. 2, the charges were dropped. And so whatever happened, they did not move forward with this case. I don't know if that meant that they just withdrew the claims, like say Kailyn, the parents, his mom and his sister who had said that this did happen and corroborated Chris's story, withdrew, or if the prosecutors in this case were just like, I don't want to deal with this. But she was never formally like convicted of this offense. So Kailyn not wanting to talk about it on air is her right. Briana said that production told her that it was because of this, and then Briana wouldn't let that go, and she kept doubling down about it being about this and kept calling her Kailyn inauthentic and saying, you know, I do everything. I am not dishonest. I show you guys everything. And Kailyn is clapping back with a lawsuit. And this has been after a very messy few weeks for Kailyn. She has had a very public falling out with her friend Marcus, who they got into a disagreement about a situation that aired on the show. And Marcus said that's not how it went down. And I'm just sort of cliff notes here. Mark went public with his story, and he basically says that Kailyn has all these yes men around her and that he's not going to be like that. She also is dealing with a very public falling out with V right now and her podcast, Baby Mama's No Drama. They are currently not filming together, and they have both acknowledged that they both have drama between the two of them. So she's got drama with Marcus, drama with V, drama with Briana, and she's suing Briana, and she's apparently making everyone sign NDAs as a result of everything that's happened. And my sources say that the NDAs are a result of the network actually stepping in so a situation like this does not happen again. So the NDAs are not just Kailyn and her like friends, but it's also production will, I'm told, have to sign these NDAs so that cast members are not learning about what other cast members are doing on the show. The lawsuit is, I've never seen a lawsuit this unprofessionally put together, and I don't doubt that Kailyn is hurt by what was said by Briana, and I also don't doubt that she feels like she needs to maybe take some level of control. Maybe she wants to stop this public bickering back and forth, but this is not a good look for MTV, to be honest, to have two cast members now involved in a lawsuit. And I have to note that their contracts, who signed these contracts with reality production companies, she can't sue MTV. She can't sue the people involved on that side. So her only course of action is to sue Briana. But it's weird because Briana says that she has a source that told her this. So I would be like, why aren't you suing that production person? Well, it's probably because she can't. But this complaint is so messy, and it's like I've never seen a complaint this poorly written. And a lot of you guys had very similar things to say, but let me just give you some highlights here. On my Instagram, I shared the full complaint, and this is what it says. The defendant, so Lowry brings this action against the defendant for defamation concerning recent untrue statements made by defendant about Lowry on social media. Defendant, a longtime foe of Lowry, asserted that Lowry physically attacked Chris Lopez, the father of two of Lowry's sons, and broke into and entered the home of Mr. Lopez's mother. These statements were shared within the defendant's social media followers, which exceeded over 1 million people. So it says that the defendant's comments are not only untrue, they were made by the defendant for the purpose of causing Lowry harm. By making these false statements, defendant not only harmed Lowry, but she also lined her own pockets while doing so. Defendant used Lowry to gain additional media attention for herself, which included pushing articles from Lowry for which, upon information and belief, defendants were paid. Lowry seeks redress from the court in its right to right this wrong caused and to end the drama between these two women once and for all. Okay, that's like very high level of what happened. But what I really think is odd is that they say facts applicable to the claims for relief, and they give a background, and I don't know why this is even included. It's only in a way, I think, for Kailyn to publicly say through her lawyers how she feels about Briana without having to say it herself. And I think it's a narrative painted by the lawyers to paint Briana in a certain way that Kailyn will not say publicly, right? So she says this. So here's the narrative that they go into, and they say this. In or around 2017, it was announced that Briana would join the cast of Teen Mom reality television show, and the party's relationship was fraught from what has been fraught. In an Instagram live broadcast, defendant admitted that she told Lowry that the two women were never friends and never been friends. Defendant has a history of making false public statements regarding Lowry's family life. Defendant instructed a fan on Twitter to shut the F up and because Lowry gets beat the F up by Chris Lopez in front of her kids. That happened a couple of years ago. And then in around 2018, while filming a reunion episode for the series, the defendant's sister physically assaulted Lowry in the heat of a verbal disagreement between Lowry and defendant. And then it says this is the part I think is so funny. Defendant's conduct towards Lowry included pursuing Lowry's former husband, and Mr. Lopez is so egregious that in September 2020, one social media influencer created a video which is titled, "Is Briana DeJesus obsessed with Kailyn Lowry?" Like, there's literally no reason to actually include that video in there, only to paint Briana as this obsessed, deranged stalker, in my opinion. And lawyers will do that to create a narrative, in my experience. So they'll say this video was liked approximately 1,300 times on YouTube. They then get into the post, which after all of that, they get into the post, and it's a post that she put out on June 8th of 2021, which she claimed that Lowry had committed violent physical crimes towards Mr. Lopez and asserted that Lowry was arrested for breaking and entering in the home of Mr. Lopez's mother. And that's actually not why she was arrested, and that wasn't what the arrest was for. So she says, specifically on Instagram, she stated, Kail doesn't want to film about breaking and entering into Chris's mama's house and beating him for cutting her child's hair. She says this post is false. Lowry did not break in and enter the home of Mr. Lopez's mother, nor did Miss Lowry beat Mr. Lopez. Defendant has continued to interact with her wide audience and followers in a series of comments and reactions perpetuating these false allegations. It says, due to the controversial nature of these allegations, they were subsequently reposted and reported on. So then she references that the Sun posts an article on them, and then she promotes Briana a Celebrity Buzz article, which she gives an exclusive statement to, which is a pay-per-view click. So she says that defendant is paid for each time one of her social media followers clicks on an article posted by Celeb Buzz upon information and belief. So she's basically saying that Briana's incentive to constantly drag her is because she's getting paid to do things to Kailyn, and then she gets paid to put out a statement. Not getting paid to do things, but she gets paid because she'll start the drama with Kailyn, and then she gets paid through the clickbait. People on these reality shows will do whatever they can to make coin, and I'm not going to say like it's good or bad. And Briana does have this opinion of like inserting herself into Kailyn's life, which is weird to me. But again, I still don't know how this is going to hold up in court, because if she has a source telling her, what I don't know is how this is going to hold up in court, because if she has a source from production telling her these things about why she didn't film, it'll be hard to prove defamation. But she says that on Instagram, the user tagged several of Lowry's sponsors and employers in a different post referencing the defendant's allegation concerning Lowry. On June 9th, she went back to the drama and continued to perpetuate untrue statements continued in this post during an Instagram live broadcast. And it says that at times had as many as 10,000 viewers at a time, and it has since been saved and reposted on Instagram. On Instagram Live, the defendant claimed that she knows the real story of what happened, and she asserted that Lowry was omitted from the episode because she didn't want to film the issues that go on between her and Chris. And she added that Lowry didn't want to film the situation with the domestic violence about her getting arrested, about her breaking and entering into Chris's mom's house, and she didn't want to film about her hitting Chris because Chris cut her son's hair. She also claimed that she was just stating facts, and that's what happened. And in making that post, it was untrue, and she said that she recklessly disregarded the truth and publicly, even though Lowry publicly denied what she said, she refused to take down those statements or retract. So they're claiming that the defamation happened because the post was false, that 1.4 million people on her Instagram saw this post, that it charges her with committing a crime of breaking and entering, and she was never charged with breaking and entering. She says that they believe that her sponsors were aware of the allegations that were made in this post, and she says that the post imputed conduct of Lowry incompatible with the essential functions of her job as a podcaster whose podcasts focus on motherhood, family, and parenting. So this, to me, seems like a PR kind of like damage control situation. So what they're saying is that, one, what she did was false. What she said about her was false. It did not include breaking and entering, and this altercation never happened, except she definitely was arrested. The charges were just dropped, okay? But there seems to be an incongruence here with her public perception versus what happened in her private life. And so they are saying that by her putting that out there, it is not matching her brand, and she's going to protect her brand because that's not who she portrays herself to be on her podcast and on her reality show. So here's the thing. They have gone back and forth a lot, and you have two people on a show making claims about each other, and now you have networks stepping in, handing out NDAs left and right. And you have two cast members of the same show fighting now in a lawsuit, which looks terrible for the network. MTV really needs to get involved in this in a way where they can resolve this between the two of them, where they have a clause maybe in a contract that says you cannot talk about her, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. Like, to me, this is not an issue of Briana going rogue, but if she's getting fed information by production is someone in production, I think, is stirring the pot between these two. And then second, if they can't control Briana or Kailyn in regards to one another, the network needs to handle that. Like, the fact that Kailyn has to do this from a legal perspective just looks terrible for MTV. And I don't know how successful she'll be even in winning this, because one, she has to prove that sponsors actually didn't want to work with her. She'll have to prove that she had lost business because of it. She has to prove damages, and I don't know that she can do that. And Kailyn has other factors that contribute to her online persona that aren't just related to Briana. So again, you have to prove that it happened and that Briana knew what she was doing was wrong. So my takeaways was, I thought the complaint was very poorly put together. I thought the claims that they made were, while there is a claim, I don't think there's a lot of evidence to show from Kailyn's perspective that sponsors actually pulled out. And I also don't think that this is anything that she can win. It might have just been done as a threat that maybe now that there is this lawsuit, they can go into a settlement, which is what maybe they wanted to happen. And that could maybe end this dispute. But overall, I'm not impressed with the complaint. I don't think Kailyn can win, and what Briana's doing is wrong. I'm not defending her, but to me, this all goes up to MTV, who I think is creating this problem by not addressing the issue with their cast. At the end of the day, Kailyn has a brand and a reputation she wants to clean up, and it's clear that she doesn't want any of her secrets from her private life getting out to the public, and that's her right. But my advice to Kailyn is, if you want to have a public persona be a certain type of way, you have to make sure that your private life matches that. So if people know that you're not like that, they're not going to believe that kind of stuff. But if you have a history of doing that kind of stuff, people will hold weight to any claims that are made like this. And the fact that there actually was an arrest here makes this another area where people are going to question it. So I don't know what's going to happen. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but that's what's happening. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.